Alright everybody, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to release a video, but I've been fishing a lot. In fact, this tournament was fished a couple weeks ago. It was a charity tournament on Rend Lake. It's one of those charity tournaments I've always wanted to win ever since I started fishing it. I know you want to win all your tournaments, but this one really is one I'd like to get before I'm done fishing. We had a great day today and can't wait to bring you this one. A lot of funny moments, a lot of fish. Well, we had started off throwing buzz baits. We had a really cloudy day, a lot of rain in the forecast. We had a east wind that was switching out of the southeast, so we thought topwater would be the key to it all. And to start with, first 30 minutes, once again, nothing. So we moved over. Hefner continued with the buzz bait while I moved down to a 10-inch Berkeley power worm to try to draw a big bite off of a drop-off off this rock hump. The fish ended up weighing in at around 3 pounds, I think maybe 3 1/4, which was a great start to the day. We struggled earlier in the year to catch big fish, and we were very thankful to start off this way, that's for sure. We actually thought that this was going to continue because on the very next cast I come up and I pull to the same area again and I get another bite, back-to-back fish to start the day. Just this one proved not to be the size we wanted, and I was able to make 1 or 2 more casts in there before fate would strike with hef. Somebody decided to cast my good buzz bait up into the rocks, and we couldn't get any closer without damaging his trolling motor, so I went ahead and made the executive decision, asked him to politely to go get my bait. Now, even though he struggled during the first tournament we aired, we had another tournament here recently too where he did really well in. We just didn't do well overall, but without him today, we would not have done as nearly as well as we did. He's a big part that we ended up in the money today. This fish was actually caught off of a black buzzbait from a lunker lure, and it was just fishing down almost parallel to some riprap. And I think that fish was about 1.25 pounds, maybe 1.5 pounds, but it was a keeper, which we had to have. That bite actually helped give me confidence back in the topwater bite since we hadn't done any good earlier in the morning. So I pulled out the old Spro Frog, the same exact bait that I did the fishing video season 2 with the Spro Frog fishing. And I threw it up against a set of trees and did no good whatsoever. Then I threw it up against one up here, and you're going to get a really good shot here as soon as Hefner goes to put his pole down. A fish hitting. And this is how we were able to get fish number 3 in the boat. And this fish came in at around 2 pounds, 2.5 maybe. Not a bad fish, just a solid keeper, which we wanted to get. We wanted to get a good limit in, then maybe go hog hunting. Well, not to be outdone and almost in dueling banjos fashion, Hef decided he wasn't going to let me pull away that easy, so he went right back to buzzbaiting along the riprap. And he claimed this was a big fish, and he had me all excited because I hadn't seen it until it swam into the net. It was about a 15.5-inch fish. Not a bad one. Once again, not a bad fish for Rend Lake, but definitely not what I was expecting when he pulled it up to the boat. This gave us our 4 fish. It was still really early in the morning, and we were really moving well, but the only problem was we thought everybody was catching them because we had done so well so early. I wanted to include this because I had thrown a frog up against these trees and I had something short strike, and we turned right around and come back. I'm fishing a Cinco that's weightless, wacky style, and I set into a fish right here and bring it up, and we're going to find out really shortly that this fish is not even, I don't even think it was 13.5 inches. We needed a 14-inch fish to be able to get number 5, and I said it wasn't going to happen with this fish, but at least I was able to figure out why my frog bite, why the fish short struck it. It is most likely because the fish was just too small to get the bait in his mouth. And if you know anything about Cincos, they're extremely expensive. You usually get a 6-pack or so for $6. So you don't want to be losing those. And the problem with little fish is he shook that worm off immediately, so I had to get another one. And I think I was only down to 3 or 4 left in the box. So I got the Wacky Rig back together. The Wacky Rig comes from Lock 'em Up Lures. Love fishing this in shallow water. It's a really good finesse bait, especially when a shaky head's it's too shallow for even a shaky head. But I throw back into that tree for some odd reason, and it doesn't even hit the water, and it takes off running again. And you're going to see another little bitty fish, and I threw that worm off again. So 2 fish, 2 Cincos, probably $2. Pretty aggravated. Now, really keep an eye on this tree here. We had gone 2 or 3 hours without putting a keeper fish in. And if you see, as soon as I'd pulled up over a limb, a fish came up and grabbed my bait and pulled it back down. And when I set the hook, I set into the tree, and I was hung up, no fish. And as I told Hefner, I said that was a 3.5 pounder or 3+ pounder, I think I'd said. And I mean, I was upset because we didn't have a lot of time left to mess around and try to find our 5th fish. We'd started off so good, and it was starting to rain, and just felt like everything was starting to fall apart for us. The wheels were coming off the bus, so to say. But we come into this tree where this fish had been ambushing bait probably all day. Bump up against it with the trolling motor. I stick the pole in there, disturb it, and we end up just saying heck with it and end up going to another bank. Now, after we fish this other bank, Hef ends up losing a 3-pounder again. He brought it up to the top, and it actually had the back of his tube. It was nothing he did wrong. Just the fish, for some reason, short struck his bait and just kind of showed us long enough to say goodbye. That was all he was able to do. So we didn't have many options left. We had about 40 to 45 minutes left before weigh-in and didn't really know what to do, so we decided to putt back over. We come right back over this same tree. Like I said, it was just maybe 30 minutes later at best, and I don't know why. I just thought, well, why not? We really didn't have anywhere else to go try. We had one more bank we wanted to hit, but it was only going to take 10 minutes, so may as well stop and try this spot again on the way down. And wind was really howling in there. You can't tell it here because that point up ahead is breaking the wind for us. so we knew we were going to have a rough ride back. I'm flipping a lock 'em up jig in the black and red pattern with a Berkeley chigger crawl in the blue on the back, which I had just flipped in earlier when I missed the fish, but I'm coming back at it with the exact same bait here. So here we are, we're approaching it. I'm trying to stay off of it as well as I can and just start working down the base as if this was the first time I had touched it all day, even though we were here not long ago. Throw in at the end, then throw in about a third of the way in, and then on this cast coming up right here, I actually throw right in the middle, right where I had missed him before. Craziest thing, fish actually came back, set himself back down in there, and he ended up being our kicker for the day, a 3.5 pound largemouth. And little did we know this fish right here put us way up in the money. It gave us a 6th place finish. We ended up with 11.57 pounds. It only took 13.03 to win, so if Hef had hooked that one at the that we missed just before this, we actually would have easily had the win. We would have had 13.5, almost 14 pounds, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Everybody struggled today. It just goes to show you, you never know what anybody else is doing. The bite was off, I guess, but that was my first time cashing in this charity tournament, so we ended up with a plaque also, so that was really nice, some memorabilia, and had a fun time. So, what can you say? This is the shot of the day right here, and I'll just let the subtitles tell you everything you need to know. I was pretty hacked at this point. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time.